sponsored by the Degama Group.
Welcome to Rumbo Minero. My name is Jorge Leon Benavides, and together with Cesar Campos, we are going to develop the following program. Cesar, how are you? How are you, Jorge? As always, a pleasure. This week we have Carlos Gálvez, former president of the company and director of the National Society of Mining, Petroleum and Energy. We are going to continue talking about which are the formulas for illegal mining and how we can fix this issue that talks about $5 billion, a lot of money, and that we have to turn it around somehow. This whole mess of
the legislative decree of 607 that established, according to what the parliament has said, to repeal the part in the parliament, to repeal the part in which last Thursday, the 21st, was repealed. What is true, or the closure of rainfall was allowed? What will happen? We do not know until now.
We are also, of course, going to have the second installment of PDAC, of this PDAC special, with, of course, very important executives from mining companies and suppliers. Next, join us for the main mining news of the week by Gabriela Chicoma.
Thank you, Jorge. These are the main mining news of the week.
The Ministry of Energy and Mines has as its main objective for this year the relief and reactivation of important mining projects, such as the Michiquiley farm in Cajamarca, as well as Magistral in Ancash, initiatives that would generate investments of approximately $5.5 billion for the country, contributing to the creation of more jobs and development opportunities. Volcan Compañía Minera, one of the largest producers of zinc, lead, and silver, communicated through a significant fact to the superintendents of the securities market that it has notified the Ministry of Energy and Mines the suspension of its mining units, San Cristobal, Carahuacra, and Ticlio, located in Yauli, Junín. The company stated that the measure will be extended for up to 30 days, while it adjusts the operating permits for the Rumichaca tailings dam.
Many thanks to Gabriela Chicoma for the main mining news of the week. Well, we now meet Carlos Gálvez, former president and director of the National Society of Mining, Petroleum and Energy. We are going to talk about the consequences for mining in the repeal of the legislative decree. Carlos, how are you?
Jorge Cesar, thank you for the invitation. As always, a pleasure.
I would like you to clarify a little. The plenary of the Congress approved a bill that repeals Legislative Decree 1607, which established a brake on illegal mining and seeks to strengthen the formalization process with 78 votes in favor. In first and second vote, the legislature has decided to repeal the first final complementary provision of Legislative Decree 1607 of the Legislative Decree 1607 of the Executive. How do you qualify this action of the Congress and the consequences that this repeal could have? Consequences of this repeal? No. We know that, Carlos, they have been trying for many years to see how we can turn the issue of illegal mining around. On the other hand, we have to be honest that all previous governments have not been able to turn around the issue of illegal mining to make an attractive proposal. They have failed because the percentages of legalization are very, very small. But what Congress has done does not help.
What Congress has done is barbaric. It doesn't make any sense. And it can only be explained because there are, in all the benches, congressmen and women who have been financed in their campaigns by these illegal activities. And of course, today they have to pay their masters. That is very bad. What has to happen is that an orderly process. It cannot be that you have first formalization processes that have been going on for 22 years. This here is a little game in the small area that if it takes 30 days, that if it takes until the end of the year. This is nonsense, a joke. We have spent 22 years in formalization processes that do not happen.
Now, excuse me for interrupting you. I understand that this has happened to the President of the Republic, right? Yes, it has.
Yes, but what...
Why force the President not to do so?
The President, what she can do is in any case to observe. But we already know that they do it for...
There's a procedure. I just want to bring to the table an opinion that I have gathered from an expert, a constitutionalist, such as Dr. Rolando Sousa, who we all know. The derogation is poorly formulated because it is derogating an article of a legislative decree. An article of a legislative decree that precisely by its names indicates that it was in function of that was based on a delegation of powers made by the Congress to the executive power to issue decrees, to the executive branch to issue legislative decrees. And the opinion of the Congress is that it has exceeded its powers. And this excess is not done by derogation or is not stopped by derogation, but by means of derogation, but by means of, as Dr. Sousa told me, an action of constitutional control, a constitutional control action. Therein lies a trap that probably Mrs. Boluarte, if she has a good advisor like Justice Minister Arana, will tell you this. You have to send it back because it is wrongly stated.
There would be more time at least.
Exactly. But already on the 21st, tomorrow, the legislative decree is supposed to order the closure of the rainfall. Then we are going to enter into a process of confusion, eh, Carlos?
Well, effectively, that's one interpretation. The interpretation that I have heard from some congressmen is that it has been exceeded because it had not been given powers to isolate mining matters.
According to their point of view, it does not matter whether it is good or bad.
That's right. Well then. But that is a matter for lawyers. The truth is that I am not going to waste my time on that. Let's get to the heart of the matter. The bottom line is that we are giving a free hand to an illegal activity that has no break, and that we must be aware that it is an activity closely linked, if not the root. So, crimes of contract killings, kidnapping, human trafficking, child labor. The fact is that if all these activities, and in addition, is an instrument of money laundering for drug trafficking,
Forgive me, Carlos, but this decision is made. I speak to you as the devil's advocate. After a week in which we had almost 20,000 artisanal and informal workers marching through the streets of Lima, Minister Romulo Mucho has given the impression that he is willing to accept what the decision of the Congress may do. And here in Rumbo Minero, when we warned him about this issue and the social consequence, he said if it is necessary, and it has been stated in the newspaper Gestion, in the newspaper El Comercio, it is still necessary to submit it to an adjustment and review, because it seems that we like radical measures. Let us close, okay? But as Jorge rightly said, and then what is the solution for these 20,000 artisans who are only those who are exhibiting in the street, but the social problem may be bigger?
definitely, it is not to close or not to close. Okay, good point. The issue is, let's legalize, right? And if so, you're talking about 500,000 miners.
That's right.
Illegal or informal?
More than 1 million people engaged in
Well,
it.
we can add up all the families and we get to 4 million.
Of course, because they make a living from it, just like formal mining.
But in the background. Look, let's do the figures. There are 87,000 reinfos, of which 70,000 have ceased to be. And of the 17,000 that remain, the percentage that has made a genuine effort to become formalized is very small. And those who formalize, congratulations. Peru has to encourage mining activity. It has to encourage prospecting. It has to encourage us to make new discoveries. And all Peruvians have the right to do that work and find and discover our natural resources. That is not denied. What is denied is that I go into your house, into your living room, and extract your property. You made the pretext that I am informal with reinfo. I can come into your living room and give me your things. That is what is not right. Then that has two ways. One, if you're going to go into a place that has no concessions, you have an open road and the state should support them so that they can take out their concessions and their mining rights. If you are in someone else's area, someone else's existing concession, the way is also open. There are the assignment contracts, which is a lease. You pay a reality for the exploitation of that area. But all these things have to follow legal processes and be framed within the law. You can't just do anything.
We have 2 minutes left. We are moving forward.
On the other hand, come on, let's let's then go to the issue of how do you control that. Here, everybody goes against the little ones, and they are not allowed to. There are no more than 10 treatment plants. That nobody is watching them, and they are the ones that receive the material from all these artisanal or small-scale miners. Why is there no serious control and traceability of explosive materials? And traceability of explosive materials. This chemical reagents, mercury, cyanide, and all the regulations that should be followed by the workers who have the right to life, to the protection of their families. None of this is being done. So,
It's an important task for the government. In addition, we are talking about $3 billion a year, whether it is the
5,000, look,
There
the
are several
figure
figures
that the
indeed.
central bank has is that illegal production is 2,350,000 ounces of gold a year. To 2,200. You take out your account that we are talking about more than 5,000.
5 billion. So,
Okay.
and that it also goes through Bolivia to a large extent. No, Bolivia.
If 2 billion goes out of Bolivia,
And so if the government really has to do a job that can really pay off in interesting taxes, is illegal mining. It is where it has to aim, because formalizing this sector, which is not easy, it has not been achieved. They can, the government can get hold of a very strong amount of taxes.
allow me to make a quote, Jorge. I would not be particularly punctilious on the tax side. In other words, taxes must be imposed, but you have to impose a tax according to the size of a people's agreement, not the differentiated standard, at least not the ordinary standard. It has to be a thing of you. We should extend the 15% tax as it was put at the time for the export agro industry.
Or gradual as well.
And gradual. It is not that you are going to take that in the plant itself,
That's right. That entitles you to a lot of things.
and that entitles you to a lot.
In closing, what would be your final words on the program about the call to the government not to give up, because all the governments have not been able to, and it seems that they don't seem to turn the issue around. What would be your call to the minister very much about what needs to be done immediately?
I believe that the state cannot abstain. It has a role to play. It has to give legal support, and we have students or university graduates in law who can help. We have graduates in mining, engineering, and geology who can help them to do all their demarcations and field work. We have those who can give you all the safety guidelines, and we must incorporate them, giving them, and we must incorporate them, providing them with facilities so that the state is not an enemy of this artisanal miner. Being an artisanal or small-scale miner is not synonymous with being an illegal miner. Illegal, but the illegal ones want to win the battle against us.
Thank you very much for being with us, always clear and forceful with your arguments. We hope to have you another time, and let's go. Let's see how things move this year.
Thank you very much, as always, for the invitation.
Gabriela, go ahead with Espomina.
Thank you very much. Expo Mina Peru from September 11th to 13th, 2024 will be chaired by Luis Rivera, Executive Vice President of Goldfields Las Americas, and integrated by an advisory board of recognized mining leaders who will support us to achieve a magnificent organization. Highlight your brand through the different sponsorships we offer at Expo Mina Peru. Networking opportunities, participation in exclusive activities, promotion in the media, among other important benefits. For more information, visit our website www.expomineperu.com.
Well, we now link up for the America Mining Block with Jose Gonzales, International Editor of Rumbo Minero magazine. Jose, how are you?
Very good, Jorge. Nice to be with you every week.
Jose, tell us a little bit about the performance of certain metal quotations that we do every so often. How are the metals and their prices doing?
In the case of gold, Jorge, to the delight of the gold bucks, the gold fanatics, the precious metal has experienced a rally that has taken it above the resistance level of $2,100, reaching historical levels that seem to be able to be sustained. After peaking at $2,184 last week, this week gold is trading at $2,155 on the strength of the dollar. And caution regarding the U.S. Federal Reserve's monetary policy announcements. Financial markets have changed their tone in the first quarter of the year from being convinced that the Fed could cut interest rates 6 times starting in March to assuming 3 or less starting in June, which would moderate the increase in gold prices without generating a significant correction. February's U.S. inflation rate at 3.2%, higher than market expectations, has tempered enthusiasm for rate cuts. At the same time that the Bank of Japan raised its benchmark interest rate for the first time since 2007, 17 years, injecting this moderation into gold markets that are still at historic lows. The markets are still waiting for an economy that has not stopped growing and is beginning to slow down, forcing the Fed to lower interest rates at least 3 times. As expressed by the same in December 2023. As for gold demand, on the other hand, global central bank buying has remained constant in the face of tensions between China and the West and the conflicts in Ukraine, Gaza, and also the tensions in the Strait of Hormuz. The market remains very confident that gold will continue to rise this year.
Well, and on the other hand, Jose, the copper has not done badly in the last 11 months either. He has had some record prices, and yet he has not broken the historical highs that we have known previously. What about the dynamics, the drivers, as they say in English, that the copper price has, and what are the prospects?
It is like this, Caesar. Copper futures extended their gains during the week, surpassing the $4.1 per pound threshold to reach their highest level since April 2023. Establishing during the week levels of $4 per pound, which would have been the resistance level during the whole of last year. The level to be crossed is the level of $4.15 a pound of January 23, and then the historical record of $4.71 a pound of March 2022. The latest increases have been due to good economic results in terms of retail sales and industrial production in China, which, according to trading economic hopes, have encouraged a recovery in the demand of the largest consumer of the main metals. China's industrial production soared by a measured 7% during January and February, year on year, beating expectations, while retail sales rose by 5.5%, notes trading economist. According to commodity analysts in the United States, copper prices had already begun to rise last week after major Chinese copper smelters agreed to reduce production at facilities that were more profitable due to raw material shortages. This decision was reportedly made in response to a drop in copper concentrate prices to their lowest level in a decade, which negatively affected the profitability of smelters. The profitability of the smelters. The shortage of raw materials, on the other hand, would be reflecting the effect of moderate copper prices in 2023, which have discouraged the production of the metal. The copper futures market, however, indicates trading economics remains focused on the Chinese real estate sector, which accounts for almost half of copper in the country. Chinese real estate investment fell 9% during the first 2 months of this year, which is still better than the 24% drop in December last year, which will continue to pose challenges to the metal, which should, however, continue to rise in the medium term.
Well, Jose, thank you very much for being with us, and we look forward to seeing you next week.
Pleased to meet you always.
I would like to mention to our friends that all these topics that Jose Gonzales, as international editor of Rumbo Minero magazine, deals with can be found at www.rumbominero.com, the most important magazine, one of the most important in Latin America and in the world in terms of mining. Next, Cesar has us up.
Also remembering the www.rumbominero.com, where you can read for free all the content of our magazine. It is time to introduce Jorge, the mining assets segment, AMSAC.
Activos Mineros AMSAC is a Peruvian public company with a great purpose, to give life back to the planet. Thus, we are dedicated to contributing to the sustainable development of the country through mining environmental remediation. At AMSAC, we recover areas affected by high and very high-risk mining liabilities, which are abandoned or where the state has not identified those responsible. In this line of work, today we are present in 11 regions of Peru, with a portfolio of 65 remediation projects, which are located in different phases. Promotion of private investment. In AMSAC, we represent the Peruvian state as counterpart of the transfer contracts of important mining projects, and we also supervise the fulfillment of the commitments and obligations that are part of such processes. Today, we are leaders in business management systems, within the 35 companies of the Fonafe Corporation, having the certifications, made 9001 in quality management, ISO 14001 in environmental management, ISO 37001 in anti-bribery management, and ISO 45001 in occupational health and safety management. At AMSAC, sustainability and care for the planet are our DNA, and therefore, we are proud to contribute to creating a better world through the recovery of air, water, soil, and ecosystems impacted by mining liabilities, and thus contribute to 10 of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals by the year 2030. Giving life back to the planet is more than a simple phrase for us. It is the guide of our daily actions, with which we have a positive impact on the lives of thousands of Peruvians, and through them, on our country.
Well, in the second PDAC special, we have as interviewees Óscar Benavides, President of the Delegation, Manuel Talavera, Peruvian Ambassador to Canada, Ulises Solís, General Manager of Macusani, and Ulises Solís, General Manager of Macusani. Guillermo Shino, General Manager of Minera Apumayo, Gonzalo Tamayo, Partner at Macroconsult. And Mario Baeza, General Manager of Minera Zafranal. Go ahead with the special.
In this opportunity, I meet with Óscar Benavides. He is a partner of Rodrigo Elias Medrano Law Firm and President of the Peruvian Delegation here at PDAC of the Year of the Year of the Year of the Year of the Year. Óscar, welcome to Rumbo Minero, and first of all, congratulate you for all the work done here at the PDAC of the Year of the Year of the Year of the Year with the Peruvian Delegation. Tell us a little bit about how many Peruvians have come here to the event, the importance also of the government representatives here at the PDAC of the Year 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 of the Year.
Look, it has been a success in terms of attendance. There are about 330 people registered in the Peruvian delegation, and there are many other Peruvians who come not as part of the delegation, but to do the same thing we do, which is to promote investments and generate business. This year, we have also had the capacity to summon the authorities. We have high-level authorities, the Premier, the Minister of Energy and Mines, the Minister of Economy, as well as Vice Ministers and other high-level officials that give credibility to the speech we want to give.
You were also present at PDAC 2023. In the midst of a complicated moment of social, political, and economic conflict, what has changed compared to last year in PDAC 2024? Regarding the presence of the Peruvian delegation.
If I may use the expression, last year it was a delegation of firefighters. We were putting out fires. The terrible conflict that we had, especially in the south, with the unfortunate deaths that occurred, had just ended or was about to end. And it was a moment in which Peru came from, it was not even 2 months into the new government, 3 months into the government of President Boluarte, and it was a difficult message. It was a message that in Peru, things are not so bad. They are stages, and as they were indeed stages, we have had a year of relative social peace in Peru. So now the message to be given is one of cohesion, 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 and of cohesion, cohesion of competitiveness, as I said, but also of credibility, of reinforcing that credibility that we started last year to show Peru as such.
Óscar, thank you very much, as always, for your availability with Rumbo Minero.
Delighted, at your service. Thank you.
This time we met with the Peruvian ambassador to Canada, Mr. Manuel Talavera. Ambassador, what is your conclusion and what is your experience of being here at PDAC 2024?
Well, it's my first PDAC. I have taken it on 6 months ago in Canada. This one, but you can tell this is the world's premier mining trade show. I think the impression made by the Peruvian delegation could not have been better. This combination of public and private sector is very powerful. The international investment community has been able to see how we work together and how we are really back. This for me as ambassador to Canada is very important because this year we are celebrating 80 years since the establishment of diplomatic relations and 15 years since the entry into force of our free trade agreement. In addition, the recent award of the Chavimochic project to Canada has put us in the showcase. It is already clear to them that Peru, as Canada's second largest trading partner in South America, has much more potential. They are looking at us, they are looking at Line 3, Line 4 of the subway, among other projects.
The implementation of the single window that was announced last year by Prime Minister Alberto Otárola, who has already announced the start of this window for exploration, could it be beneficial in attracting more Canadian investment to Peru and, above all, shortening the time frame?
Yes, I believe that this is something that they have been repeating, the need to provide greater facilities for exploration, which is something that has to be done to ensure the future of mining. And Peruvians know that the future of mining is the future of the country. More mining, more taxes, more hydroelectric plants, more irrigation. And now that we are going to enter in a very short term with Chavimochic, with the Jorge Chavez. With a great dimension, we are destined to be the hub of South America.
And the port of Chancay as well.
And the port of Chancay and the port of Chancay. We are really heading in the right direction.
Perfect. Mr. Ambassador, thank you very much for being present here at Rumbo Minero.
Many thanks to you and continued success.
For Rumbo Minero, we now meet with Mr. Ulises Solís, CEO and General Manager of Macusani Yellowcake. Tell us a little about your reflections on your participation in PDAC 2024.
New experiences and practically asking the government for progress in permitting. They have announced that they are going to cut back on this. They are going to carry out parallel procedures, parallel permits, practically not waiting for one to finish and then continue with another and another and another, but as far as possible to do it in parallel so that everything goes together.
The topic, I would also like to know about the progress of the Falchani project. What are your plans for 2024?
The Falchani project itself, we have already presented the semi-detailed environmental impact study to take the resources to reserves. It is very advanced. We have already had the first batch of observations. We are lifting them. We have finished with the monitoring required by law. And I hope that once we correct the observations already made, we will say they have run. We have to be honest. They have done it quickly. They have evaluated it quickly. They have made the pertinent observations. We are lifting them. We are still within the deadline. I believe that once we lift all the observations, it is possible that a second smaller batch will come, much smaller, which is normal. And I think that in the month of May, we should have the approval of the semi-detailed, which will lead us to have the proven reserves. Today we have 9.5 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent as resources, but of those 9.5 million tons of lithium carbonate equivalent, 5.5 are inferred and indicated resources, that is, they are already reserves. You can see it is the fourth largest deposit in the world with the resources we have. We expect that once we execute the semi-detailed environmental impact study, these resources will increase, but already as proven reserves, we will immediately start the environmental impact study for exploitation. The Falchani project is moving forward. We have separated the lithium and uranium mining deposits, and we are also going to give a big push to the uranium deposits we have. But let's not confuse, the Falcani lithium does not have uranium. The other uranium projects do have lithium on a smaller scale. but they do have lithium. But these uranium projects are going to be explored and try to do all their work very independently. Thank God we have the confidence, we have the same work team. I will also be the manager of the uranium issue. The board of directors will be the same. We have only separated the uranium and lithium companies.
Thank you very much, Ulises, for your presence in Rumbo Minero. In this opportunity, I meet with engineer Guillermo Shino. He is the general manager of Minera Apumayo. Guillermo, how are you? Welcome to Rumbo Minero.
Thank you very much. All very well here from PDAC Canada.
What are your thoughts on what I have heard so far during Peru Day here at PDAC 2024?
I think that the Peruvian delegation headed by the great authorities that have come here to Canada is not very important at all. What has been said effectively has to do with topics of great interest for the mining sector, in which they have talked about the project portfolio, the latest projects that have come, the consequences that we have had, but also the challenges that have to be faced with respect to the mining conflict. And in these days, the minister will also talk about the paperwork that we are sure they are going to optimize.
You have also been as Vice Minister of Mines some time ago. What do you think should be the first measures, or what should be addressed first?
I believe that there are two major factors that everyone knows. On the one hand, there are the procedures, and on the other hand, the social conflicts. With respect to the formalities, they are reviewing to see how to streamline and optimize the whole permitting process in the different state institutions. A major announcement is expected in this regard so that the projects continue to advance or advance faster. And because of the social conflicts, a greater presence of the state is required to accompany the companies in the prevention of these conflicts, but also the state, with the money, the resources generated by mining, should also invest in basic infrastructure required by the population, where there is a lack of schools, hospitals, roads, drinking water, things like that. And these people do not see the benefit that mining brings because they lack all these needs. They have all these needs.
Finally, Guillermo, how is Apumayo doing? What projects do you have? How are you progressing?
Well, Apumayo, as you all know, has mining units that are already in the process of closing. We have an ANCOS project currently in the process of preparing the environmental impact study to be able to have an operation similar to the one Apumayo had until recently. And I also made an announcement that we were about to close two projects, the purchase of two mining projects. One of them we have already closed, we have already bought it. A project that we were involved in together with Peñoles. It is the Capajorco project that we are talking to some informal miners in the area to be able to help them in their formalization and to advance in the exploration, because it is a project that we have to start exploring, drilling, to be able to find and confirm the reserve that they may have, which is estimated to be around 1 million ounces of gold that they must have there. And the other project, the closing date will be next week, but I am not going to announce it yet. It is a project that also already has all the permits until the construction update. Once we conclude the closing of this, I believe that one more month we will start the construction. It will be a very important project that will also add to the country's gold production.
Perfect, Guillermo. Thank you very much, as always, for your willingness with Rumbo Minero.
Thank you very much.
We met with Gonzalo Tamayo, partner of Macroconsult. Tell us a little bit about your conclusions and reflections on your participation and the participation of the Peruvian delegation here at PDAC 2024.
I think that a first basic message is that the environment for mining investment today is better than it was a year ago. Actually, last year we were facing the exit of the Castillo government. I think the government was emphatic last year in that it was radically changing the environment for the mining investment community from a government like Castillo's, with its, of course, leftist tendency, towards a government that was more open to mining investment. And today, that message, 1 year later, is of course being consolidated.
Yesterday at Peru Day, there was a lot of talk in cuanto al Ruiz's presentation about Peru's position vis-a-vis other countries in the political and even economic aspect in order to be able to invest in Peru. Do you consider that we are losing valuable time in order to bring more investments to our country?
Look, the energy transition generates incredible opportunities for countries that produce copper or some minerals that are also going to be needed, or eventually exploration for lithium or rare earths. So we have a comparative geological advantage that we have to explore and exploit to take advantage of those resources, to insert them in the energy transition, to have more fiscal resources, and to have more money for the benefit of our fellow citizens.
the advance of illegal mining, although before this issue was not very much touched by the mining companies since they did not have their camps, their operations, is something that also worries today not only the ministry but also the population in general and the mining companies.
Look, I think this is a problem that has gotten out of control. One of the reasons why it has gotten out of control is because the price of gold continues to rise, and of course, that is a very important economic attraction. Second, the regulatory framework that we have put in place in Peru, I think, has failed. It gives a lot of responsibility to the regional governments, and I believe that they are not in a position to face the problem. And in some cases, they can be victims of corruption. Three, the illegal gold mining has many characteristics with other illegal economies, such as drug trafficking, with the aggravating factor that the final gold product is a legal product. It may be a tax problem, but it is not necessarily a problem. Therefore, it is necessary to improve the way in which the state deals much more aggressively with this problem, which is now transcending our border because these problems also exist in Ecuador, Colombia, and Brazil.
Perfect, Gonzalo. Thank you very much, as always, on a mining course.
No, thank you very much.
This time we meet Mario Baeza, CEO of Minera Zafranal. Mario, how are you? Welcome to Rumbo Minero.
Good morning, Miguel. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you very much.
What conclusions and experiences do you draw from your new presence here at PDAC 2024?
The truth is that for us it is extremely relevant to participate in the PDAC. It is a very good opportunity to attract investment to Peru. In short, the presentations have been very good, and we believe that once again Peru's position as an important country for investment has been reinforced.
Tell us a little about the current thinking behind the Zafranal project.
The Zafranal mining project is in the engineering stage. During this year, we expect to submit our application for a construction permit by the end of the year. From there, we will apply for final investment, approval for final investment in the first quarter of the construction year, and probably start construction by the end of next year.
So that our viewers can know a little bit about the characteristics of the project, what is going to be extracted, how many tons per year they also plan to extract ore.
Thank you. The Zafranal mining project is a copper project. We are going to produce copper concentrates. It is a medium investment. It is a project located in the south, in the Arequipa region. We expect to start operations in the year of construction. We will produce around 124,000 tons of concentrate during the first 5 years on average. And during the operation, which will last 19 years, we have an average of about 74,000 tons of copper concentrate per year.
Perfect, Mario. Thank you very much, as always, for your willingness to help Rumbo Minero.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to participate. Goodbye.
Well, very interesting interviews. This has been the last PDAC special, a really important event for Peruvian investments. And a great job that has been done with Rumbo Minero in reaching Toronto, Canada, to bring you these interviews and what this event is all about. Go ahead, Gabriel Chicoma with Expomina.
Thank you very much. Expomina Peru, the largest and most important mining event of the year 2024, with 16 years of trajectory, with the special participation of the United States as the guest mining country. Expomina Peru is the only Peruvian event certified by the United States Department of Commerce. Do not be left out and be part of this great mining event. Reserve your booth at Expomina Peru. For more information, visit our website www.expominaperu.com.
Next, the mining suppliers block.
In Rumbo Minero TV, we now move on to the suppliers block of the mining sector.
Well, in the suppliers block, we now present Alan Núñez, Commercial Manager of Segurindustria. We would like to welcome Alan and ask him how many years he has been working in the mining sector and what is the portfolio of products or services provided by his company.
How are you? Thank you for the question. Yes, well, we have been in business for about 50 years. This year, we are celebrating our 50th anniversary as creation of Segurindustria. We have been in the mining sector for almost the same number of years, and always with a completely wide range and portfolio to meet any kind of need. Always taking care of mainly hazards and risks in this very important activity in Peru.
Alan, how have you evolved in the technological aspect, innovation in terms of the service you provide to mining companies?
PPE is a product that meets these types of needs. It meets hazards and risks, but design and comfort must also be a vital part of the product. That is why we are focusing every time that the product is lighter, more comfortable, and has a level of ergonomics expected by our workers. Let's understand that a pair of boots, a pair of shoes are used on average between 10 and 12 hours in the mine site, and therefore the footwear or any type of shoes are used on average between 10 and 12 hours in the mine. And therefore the footwear or any type of PPE, whether it is a helmet, a lens, a harness, or a glove, must be completely ergonomic for use, but also provide the necessary protection for the worker. We are always innovating with lighter and lighter materials, more and more ergonomic, but that can allow a better development, and that also safety and productivity can converge within these activities.
Now tell us a little about after sales and customer follow-up.
Our service, well, we have a commercial staff, and within the commercial staff, we also have an after-sales area. And this after-sales area, although it is true, performs the work of follow-up and monitoring by the user at user level. We are talking about training, delivery of samples, and teaching the correct and proper use, proper maintenance by the PPE. But we are always covering much of the mining sector, center, north, and south with specialized people. North and South, with specialized people who not only provide training, but also provide support in the correct use and proper maintenance of PPE.
Well, thank you very much to Alan Núñez, Commercial Manager of Segurindustria. Congratulations for the management, and we hope to have him in another opportunity. We have reached the end of the program. What Carlos Gálvez tells us is important, isn't it? That is to say, the government cannot play crazy with the subject, right? Only to legislate with respect to the Congress, to legislate and to give laws. And besides, it seems that the issues are not so half-baked, but apart from that, right, which is the legal issue. This, we cannot govern in that way. In other words, we cannot govern that way. You have to go to the countryside, you have to have people who go to the countryside to talk to the artisans, to the illegal ones, to give them a real opportunity to comply with things. Expanding the reinforce and not going to the countryside is simply that people is a salute to the flag.
And as Carlos Galvez has said, the problem is the state. We always talk about the government, but this government has also inherited a very weak structure that can't even stop organized crime in the streets that we live it every day. What strength does it have to be able to stop also these illegals that, as you also pointed out in your metaphor, got into the living room of your house and there they have stayed? Us because you allowed them to is also a complex social problem for me, Jorge, which in any case needs a clamp to solve.
And also, well, the last PDAC report, as I said, a very important event, a task accomplished, I believe, at the Canada-Peru Chamber of Commerce. It is my turn there as president of this very important chamber, this one, to have come, to have taken a delegation of 300 people. This, a great job by Carla Martinez, General Manager, and I think that a great job has been done, both public and private. There have been, well, the issues that we already know about Otarola, but definitely equally a good job has been done on the government side. We believe that all this is very important. So thank you very much, Cesar. Don't forget, Peru Construye is coming up next to talk about construction and infrastructure. So don't forget to always tune in on this same signal.
With 16 years of successful trajectory, Expo Mina Peru, the largest and most important mining event of the 2024th, will open its doors from September 11th to 13th, which will be chaired by Luis Rivera, Executive Vice President of Goldfields Americas region. For 3 days, Expo Mina Peru will bring together the main mining suppliers in a 47,000 square meters venue with more than 1,270 stands and the participation of international delegations with the latest technology in machinery, equipment, products, supplies and services, with purchase intentions for more than $700 million, which will be on display for the more than thousands of visitors expected. Within the framework of Expomina Peru, the 6th edition of the International Mining Conference, CONFEMIN, will be held, with 10 important international forums: the Latin American Congress on Logistics and Supply for the Mining Sector, the International Copper and Lithium Congress, and the technical congresses MANTEMIN and PROCESMIN. In addition, as part of the news that Expomina Peru brings, the first International Congress on Green Hydrogen and Alternative Energies will be held, where important and renowned professionals will present the opportunities and challenges of the new energy matrix. Reserve your stand and participate in the most important mining fair of the year 2024. Expomina Peru, do not hesitate. Invest well, invest with the leaders. We are waiting for you from September 11th to 13th, 2024 at the Jockey Exhibition Center. More information at www.expominaperu.com.